Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to everyone that's here. Welcome Marvin. Hi Marvin.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Really, really warm today. It is probably going to heat up to about 25 degrees, but that's okay.
Oh, you poor soul. I had to scrape my car this morning when I went to work. So let me just find my finger puppet size violin and play it for you.
Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you.
It's very, very good.
Thanks
I know
very
that in
much.
your last live stream that you did, you were kind of like showing photos, and it's very, very sweet. I love that cake. What
Yeah.
flavor was the cake again?
So there was three different flavors. So there was lemon, the bottom layer was lemon, the middle layer or the kind of a second layer up was Victoria sponge cake. Do you
Mm,
guys have Victoria sponge?
yes,
Right.
yes.
Then the third layer, toffee, and then the very
Oh,
top layer was lemon again. So the top layer was just for us. We wanted to make sure that we would definitely have some lemon cake, so we just told them not to touch that, but we ended up with like three out of the four layers of cake left over, so we needn't have worried about it, but hey ho, there
no,
you go.
no, but that is just gorgeous. There's just like variety for everyone, which is really good.
Yeah,
Congrats,
it was
congrats.
really, it was beautiful. It was a really tasty cake. So let's go through and say hi to everyone that's here. I'm going to do I'm going to kind of draw the giveaway winner here. Um, and so yeah, let's fire in. So we've got Ange from Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. Hi, Ange.
Hi,
I've got
Ange.
Danielle from Three of Cups Eclectic Tarot. Danielle, that's Tarot Trainee, isn't it? You've changed your channel name, so that's pretty cool. We have Gerald from Tarot Stash. Hey, Gerald. We've got Debbie from Aquarius Owl. We've got Deanne from Blue Crescent Tarot. We've got Kristen Louise. I've got Robin from Toadstool Tarot. I have got B Kestrel's here. Hey V. I've got Donna Riedler, if I didn't already say that. Hi Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Um, Donna Thompson is here also. We've got two Donnas just to confuse us. So we've got Donna T and Donna Ree. And I think that takes us to the bottom. So hey everyone that's here, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. So as you know, we are here to do a roundtable reading for the lovely Marvin. But first, I want to quickly draw the winner of the giveaway. So on my other screen here, I'm just going to show you my screen. So let's see, right screen. So yep, you should be seeing it. So on the left-hand side on an Excel document, I have got the names of all of the people that have entered. So 17 of you have entered. In fact, before I go and do that, let me just quickly have a look at the video and make sure that nobody else has put a comment on, because I don't want to miss anybody out. That would be kind of shit, wouldn't it? But yeah, I checked just an hour ago, and those were the 17 names that were there.
So is that like literally a wheel that you just spin and then it just chooses it for you?
Yeah, yeah. I just googled like random number generator wheel, and you get that. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
I love it. Ooh.
Right, content. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves, folks. 5 and right, still 17 comments, so we're all good. Right, okay, so you can see what your number is. It's the number next to your name. And I've got this wheel to draw a random number between 1 and 17. We see the numbers 1 to 17 on here. We're going to press the button and it's going to do a big dramatic spin and then pick a number. So without any further ado, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's spin the wheel. It's number
It's
2, which is
it.
Ange from Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations, Ange. You have won the giveaway. So, let's bring back my face actually, because right now I'm a bodiless voice. Here we go. So, Ange, if you get in touch with me then we'll decide together what, the way that I did it was, we can pick something online from, like a Amazon or some sort of online site, and I'll have it shipped to you. I'm glad we did that because it means that Ange will be able to have her prize quicker than if I was sending it from here.
That's
But
right.
yay for Ange. So let me just get my YouTube comments back up. Um, so Anja's here, so Ange says yay. um, Brilliant, Ange. So you get in touch with me and we will get that sorted. Right. So we are going to get on with Marvin's roundtable reading. So as you all know, but I'm going to remind you anyway, it's the first one of the year, might as well explain how it works. So I'm going to be pulling cards for Marvin, and card by card, we're all going to read each card together for Marvin. Okay. Now, normally at this point, I would get Marvin to explain what his question is, but his question's actually quite simple. So, Marvin, why don't you tell us what your question is, but also just tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about your channel? It's your chance to promote. What stuff have you got coming up?
Yeah.
Tell us all about
So
you.
awesome. Thank you so much. I've been sort of like a fly on the wall, like within this community for probably like the last like 3 or 4 years as I was trying to discover tarot. And tarot for me has been very, very helpful in uh reorganizing my thoughts a little bit. So I come to it with a perspective of, plugging life experience into it. And then like 3 years or, roll forward like a few months ago, I had this sort of like idea in my head and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Like, I'm just going to take the fool's jump and I'm just
Mhm.
going to, put out content out there that like really interests me. I am also currently working on a project at the moment, which I will sort of like keep under tabs because I kind of want to explore my creativity again. And I've just met such lovely people in this community. You all have to remind me what my question is because so much has happened over the holidays and it's been like literally a tower moment.
That's fine.
Transformative. Yeah.
So Marvin's question, unless you want to change it at the last minute,
No.
You'd asked us to do your year ahead reading. You'd asked
Hmm.
us to do the full wheel. So we're going to this will be a 12 card, 13 if you count the soul card, folks. 12 card reading. We're going to do it a wee bit differently, perhaps. We're not just going to quite do it for January, February, March, April. So
Yeah.
I believe it's tomorrow that Aquarius starts. If you're born between the 21st of January and the 18th of February, then your star sign is Aquarius. So we're coming right into a new kind of a star sign period. So I thought, well, let's do it by the star sign. Let's do it
Brilliant.
Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, etc., etc. And we're still doing the same thing. We're still reading for the year ahead, just maybe slightly differently. But also, you know how each of the zodiac has its own kind of a special meaning. It means
Yes.
if we want to kind of a branch off and delve into that kind of a side of it, we can do that.
I
So
love that.
I'll help. I'll help everybody along the way with what we're looking at, what the dates are, and a bit about what. Just a very brief line about what like for example, Aquarius is like your social life and your friendships. So I'll be giving you those kind of prompts as we go. Um, Whoops. But as always, we're going to start off by pulling a soul card. Now, let me, for goodness
I,
sake,
I love those, Chris. I love,
soul cards.
yes, I love them. So
Do you
good.
use them much yourself?
I use them almost every day.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I do. And much like you, I actually like combine both of them together. And I was thinking about getting the portals of presence as well.
Right, okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Portals of Presence, actually, just, um, for you guys, Marvin and I were discussing riffle shuffling and like riffle shuffling in the other way. Portals of Presence is one that I do that with, so it is because it's like like a very big kind of a meaty deck.
Yes.
So we're going to pull the soul card first. That'll be like kind of at the center of the wheel. That's going to just kind of tell us maybe like just a general kind of a feel for the year ahead for Marvin. So let's see what we pull. Hi, by the way, to R Isaacs. Someone's asked where you're from, I think. So yeah, New Zealand.
Yeah, so I currently reside in New Zealand, but I also have Filipino roots. So I grew up in the Philippines up until about the age of 12, turning 13, and then I moved over here.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool.
Ooh, this is giving me shivers.
Right, okay, let's go for it then.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Okay, so here's your soul card to get us started off. Can we? Are you happy with the lighting? By the way, are we happy that we can see this? Okay. And
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
okay.
Hmm.
So there's a couple of things happening in this card for us to unpack. Um, the only kind of a burst of color that we get is this kind of a brown color that from the foliage from the leaves, that are kind of a draped across the person's face. Other than that, it's all kind of a light and dark that she's playing with. Um, don't know. What do we think about that, guys? I don't know if when I see the foliage draped across the face, and when I'm contrasting that to we see the light beam coming out of the eye, I'm getting feels of the physical impact of the world around about us, and the physical impact that it has on us, and also the things that we're picking up by sight, the kind of the psychological impact that it has on us. So I'm thinking this is an important year to pay attention to your five senses, right? Your am I going to be able to name the five senses now? Touch, sight. I was going to say feeling, but that is touch. Smell,
Sound, yeah.
sound, and whatever the fifth one is, taste.
Yeah.
There we go. We got there, didn't we? So this is a real kind of a sentient feel to me, this card. So it does. But not just that. Think about how the impact that it's having on you. So you know how we see the face going from light to dark.
Mm-hmm.
You know what effect is the world around about you having on you as an individual? So I feel as though that is going to be important for you this year, and I
Yes.
kind of get that in this card. I don't really know if I particularly see anything else right now in the card. I don't know what do you think, Marvin, about that card? Let me hold it closer for you guys.
Just sort of like bouncing off what you were actually saying, with, paying attention to like the environment around me, like this year. I have a tendency to kind of, be really hypersensitive at times. And I think what that is saying to me this year is that those leaves that are actually like coming down, it's kind of like continuing that sort of theme of, being in nature and actually enjoying life for what it is outside of, what do you call it? My social life.
Yeah,
So it's time alone. It is regeneration for me, like in nature. And it's funny that, you pulled that card because the photo that you used for the thumbnail for this is kind of like that half light and half dark. Um, and for me, it kind of like speaks to, I think meeting myself in the middle and sort of like fully really expressing myself, but then also taking time to just be alone in nature more,
yeah,
more
yeah.
this year. So that there's like sort of like this clear, like sort of like laser focus sight, which is actually like where my mindset is at the moment. It
Good.
is the lovers year, right?
Right. Okay.
It is the
I
year of the
suppose for
lovers.
everyone, two and two. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I, as all of you know, if you don't know, I am a Gemini. So this year is all about the lovers year. And my friend the other day actually told me, have you done your number for the year? And when I added everything up, it was 15, which 1 + 5 is 6.
Yeah.
So this year is going to be like a very transformative sort of like year for me. I feel I have a different sort of like focus. So yeah, that card actually speaks a lot for. It's very powerful, and this is what I love about soul cards.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting because when you think about the lovers and the devil,
Mm,
they are very similar, except one is almost like a dark version of the other, isn't it?
that's right.
And that's kind of
That's
what
right.
we see in this card. We see like a real contrast between light and dark. Um, Another thing that just popped into my head is like, do you see how like the bit that's been energized is the brain? So it's
Yes.
like not just like pay attention to the stuff going on, but like what are you learning from that? That I feel as though there's a lot to be gained from it, a lot to be learned, a lot of like knowledge and understanding and wisdom to be picked up
Yeah,
from
and
this year.
yeah, and like with the project that I'm sort of like doing, it is even like for the first few sketches or illustrations that I have been doing, it's been an extremely slightly uncomfortable at times because as I am sort of like drawing,
Hmm.
it sort of like triggers like past memories. So definitely this year is going to be one of those ones where it's almost like, yeah, we'll keep going and we'll just sort of, really stimulate the brain,
Hmm.
as you said. And that's really cool. I love that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a quick look and see what the people in the chat are saying about this card, and
Yeah,
then we will
absolutely.
kick off with the tarot reading. So let's see. Yeah, I've gone too far back there. Just
I
trying to
totally,
get when we started pulling the soul cards.
I totally like appreciate you doing this because I'm sort of like looking at the chat right now. I'm like, wait, is it like, how do you mark these things?
um, let's see. Sorry, bear with.
It's all right.
Someone, Kristen loves your laugh.
Oh, thank you.
Um, right, here we go. So Danielle says leaves are growth and change. He's peeking around it. He's peeking around it like coming out. Um, Robin says I can't make out the image. I see a unicorn with a sprig of leaves. Fair enough. Looks like a ray of light going into or out of the eye. Oh, thanks, Gerald. Um, Sight, vision, hearing, auditory, smell, olfactory, taste, gustatory, and touch, tactile, vestibular, movement, and I will add intuition, says Ange. Um, this card is making me miss my woods, says Kristen. Robin says peeking, peeking, peeking. Um, The beam of light reminds me of stay focused on what you're creating, but the foliage reminds me that it's okay to retreat when it's necessary, but don't retreat longer than is necessary.
Oh, and it
Um,
seems like that one right there actually sort of, hits like a chord with me because,
yeah,
on the shadow sort of like side of things, there are some times when, everything gets a little bit too much and then I sort of like go ghost for like a little while. But
yeah,
what Ange just said just actually like hit the nail on the head. So thank you so much. It was great.
cool. Thanks, Ange. We've got Donna says it makes me think of discernment. Kristen says clear-headed, the white and the brow, but what does the darkness around the mouth say? We've got Nick is here. Hi Nick, how are you doing? The ability to perceive and discern revelations. Robin says, I had a revelation the other day about the Lovers card. In Marseille, it's about choice, but don't usually see it that way in RWS. But Eve chose to give Adam the apple, and he chose to take it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ooh.
Kristen says, yeah, Robin, but in fact, it wasn't an apple. Janine is late in joining me, number 5. Good vibes. Right, okay. So, guys, we're going to be using the Shimmering Veil Tarot to do Marvin's reading for him. Let me just hold that up there by Stella Conway.
So beautiful.
So, I've got the first edition of the Shimmering Veil. So, let me just give it a quick shuffle before we start pulling cards. And for anyone just coming in, we're doing a year ahead spread for Marvin. So we're going to be doing it kind of a period of time by period of time. We're doing it by zodiac. So we're starting off with the Aquarius season, which is the 21st of January to the 18th of February. And we're going to go round the wheel and read for the full year ahead. So that's how this is going to work. And let me just kind of focus in on what I'm shuffling for. So the year ahead for Marvin.
It's Aquarius season, isn't it? Soon upon us. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just starting off Aquarius season. I think it's tomorrow we come into it.
Orsi is here. Hi, Orsi.
Oh, hey, Orsi, how you doing? Right, we're ready to go. No, we're not, because I want to cut the cards for some reason. I never cut the cards, but I'm doing it today. Now we're ready to go. Before I start off, I had 2 jumpers. The jumpers were the Empress and the Death card. Now I've put them back into the pack. I don't tend to. Sometimes I'll just keep jumpers in mind and think about them. Now, what the Empress and Death say to me is creation and destruction, like start beginnings and endings. Um, when you're growing something, when you're nurturing something, when you're being creative and you're nurturing something, you need to have that Empress creativity. But at the same time, I always use the analogy of a plant. To properly let that plant thrive, you need to water it and feed it and do all those empressy things to it, if you will. But you also need to kind of preen it. You need to cut off the dead bits. You need to kind of shape it and do all that kind of thing. And that's where death comes in. So the like being like you might think of creation and destruction as being opposites, but actually they're to me they're both kind of important aspects of the same process. And I think we say the same about life and death, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just something to say about what popped out. Like I say, we're starting off with Aquarius, and we start off with the Queen of Swords, which I mean we've got an air sign and we've got an air queen. So that's quite cool. That's quite nice. So what are we thinking about the Queen of Swords for the upcoming month or the upcoming Aquarius season? Well, I mean, she's right where she needs to be. She's right in her right place. And by the way, I'm starting off at the 11 o'clock position, everyone. I'm doing that for 2 reasons. So is that we finish up at the top. We're going to come full circle and finish at the top. But also, it means that they're in their normal positions. We would normally have Aries here and then, Taurus, etc., etc. So that's how I'm doing it. I feel as though the upcoming month, it's pretty much see what we were saying about the soul card, how it's all about paying attention to what's happening around about you and learning from it. There's your intellect, your knowledge, and your understanding, your ability to kind of learn stuff. Just in a very kind of a down to earth way, I feel is going to be quite important for you in this period that you're just coming into. And I mean, the Queen isn't just, it's not just about what she knows, but do you see how she's quite show offy? You know,
Yeah,
she's doing
right.
everything with a flourish, and not
That's right.
only is she incredibly intelligent and she knows how to use that intelligence, and she impresses people with it. My God, does she impress people with it? You know, um, so yeah, you're going to want to be paying attention, I think, to everything that's happening around about you, but to the learnings that you can take away from it, because if you kind of don't, if you don't harness that and you don't take that away, then I feel as though there's a lost opportunity there. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, yeah. What are you thinking, Marvin, when you look at that?
Well, the first sort of thing that I thought about with the Queen of Swords is it's all about it's an observant card for me. So it's not some, the archetype for the Queen of Swords for me is someone who's just sort of like sitting back and just soaking everything around them. So that to actually tie it to that card in the middle of, nurturing the five senses, and to kick it off with Aquarius and the Queen of Swords, it's kind of like just take a seat back and just sort of, learn through osmosis with what you see. Because usually what happens with me and my thought process is that I will consume a lot of content. I will read a lot of things. And then it just sort of like sits there for a little while, and it gets sort of, nurtured and then torn apart and then like put back together again. That's just the kind of like person that I am. And
Hmm.
so for the Empress, like to tie it in with the jumper cards that you have with the Empress and the Death, it totally makes sense. To just sort of like sit back and be like, okay, well, I know for a fact that I can't, build a new wheel, but I know that I can push it forward and help push it forward.
Yeah.
But how are we going to do that with everything that is currently around? So it's really interesting to get there. I used to actually have a big huge problem with that card.
You
So I
had a
like
problem.
said, yeah. Like I used to like it, the Queen of Swords for me was just like a no-go zone. But as time kind of like went on, and as I paid attention into like studying what the Queen of Swords is about, I was like, well, okay, this is kind of like very Miranda Priestley vibe around it, from The Devil Wears
Definitely. Yeah.
Prada. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep, I love that.
Closer for people. Let you
Yeah,
see it.
exactly. Yeah. Just observing,
That's all.
observing. That's all.
Um, let's see. That was a quote from Miranda Priestley, everyone, by the way, just in case you think I was like that. That was me telling Marvin to shut up or something. um, right, let's see. So Nick, hi Orshi, by the way, and hi everyone else that's coming in. Nick, hello to you as well. Continuing on that ability to discern. Let's see. Queen of Swords, compassionate communication, says Robin. Sorry. Um, Staying in a calm decisiveness, says Deanne, honing in on thoughts as opposed to expanding thought. Okay. Um, Gerald says Queen of Swords always gets stuff done through herself or others. Use this time to get a really great start on your project. Yeah. Um, love the observation aspect.
Yeah.
Staying objective. Air and water, receptive. Bring in what you can learn. Fill your heart space. Um, let's see. Being judgmental in a good way. Prioritizing. So
Yes,
being
which is
discerning.
also
Yeah.
like, yeah, very, very discerning. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Queen of Swords can fall into paralysis through over analysis.
Yes,
Um,
yes, Kristen.
yeah. Um, Discernment and boundaries, clarity. says Ange.
Yes.
Discernment again, says Donna. What has that queen got up her sleeves? Says Robin. Yeah, she's got some
Well,
serious sleeves on her, hasn't
yeah.
she?
Well, Robin. Yeah.
Although to be fair, the sleeves almost look watery.
They do.
See how you can pretty much see through them?
They
You know,
do.
they almost have this watery aspect to them.
And it's almost like, the pose that that queen actually has almost is like that pose from the star card, but just almost
Yeah,
about to like bend down. So for it to like appear in Aquarius is really, really good. It's like
yeah,
water. Yeah, it's water.
yeah. Do you see how what's going on with this hand? It's almost like she's. I don't know if the light situation is the best here, but it's almost as if that she's the energy from the brain. It's like the intellectual
That's
energy
right.
that's being harnessed, or
It's been like pulled out.
yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah,
kind of like ties back into that center card, doesn't it?
yeah. See, and when you look at the other hand, it's almost like the magician does as above. He channels energy from spirit, and so
Yeah,
below,
that's
he
right.
kind of takes it into the earth. So it's almost like the queen is doing the as above, so below, but the as above, instead of coming from spirit from above, it's coming from her head. So she's doing the from the head, and so she's using that intellectual energy to create something in the earth. Do you see that, like with the
Yeah,
way the hands are placed?
yeah. No, it's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we love her now.
um, Rhetorical question. Oh, you knew we were going to try and answer it anyway, Robin. That's what we love to do here, is answer rhetorical questions. um, she has a Lego person hand. um,
Everything is awesome. Do you remember that song from the Lego movie?
I do, yeah. We're not going to start singing it. I've already got
No,
enough
no.
songs in my head today. Everything's a song.
So
Right.
you'll just have to excuse me, folks. I am a vapor,
Oh, don't
so
worry.
you will just see me do that.
Fine. Oh, hey, Beth. Right, okay. So that was Aquarius. And
Aquarius.
Aquarius talks about our social life and our friendships. Now, on to the next card is Pisces. Oh no, I'm not taking it from soul cards. Where's my deck? It's way over here. I'd lost my tarot deck there. That'd be a disaster.
It's
So
all
for
right.
Pisces season, which is from the 19th of February on to the 20th of March, we've got Earth 8. So this is like the 8 of discs or the 8 of Earth. Okay, let me hold it up close first so as you can get a good look at it. This is
Oh
quite a
god.
traditional depiction of the 8 of Earth for me. Um, I mean, it's all falling into play. I almost feel as though how you said that you're up to something, but you're going to keep it under wraps for now. I
Uh-huh.
almost feel as though the cards are like, "Are you going to keep it under wraps? We're telling all your secrets." Just like we're just getting this kind of a creative project, aren't we? Like you can actually see it happening. Like there's this
it
creativity. You're having to channel it through the intellect
that's
first, through the
that's
mind,
right.
and then you're actually making something physical of it. So don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to divulge what it is that you're making, but the cards tell all. Um, it's quite funny actually, isn't it? Keeping secrets, are we? We'll see about that.
Yeah, I
Um,
did a poll last night. Just for I don't do like like daily tarot things on Instagram anymore because I've just sort of like shifted, focus with the content that I do on Instagram. But last night I did post something, and it was from the Orion's Animal Tarot, and which is what
oh,
I'm
you
work.
got that?
Yeah, I do. I
Oh, you
have.
canny wee fucker.
I have.
That's supposed to come out today in the
Yeah.
UK. Amazon were supposed to release it today, but it did its usual and it went straight to like tangent,
It's
folks.
okay.
It
It's
went
okay.
straight to not available, which Amazon always does. So
Yeah.
I've went and ordered it off of Book Deposit, no, Wordery. I've ordered it off
Yeah.
of something else, but it's going to take like a week or a couple of weeks to get here. So I'm really annoyed because it should have been here today. But
No,
sorry,
I've been
you
yeah,
were saying.
I've been working with it since like December and like, you know, for the rest of January. And I'm using the old Moonology cards, and practically what I pulled yesterday for that was also the Eight of Pentacles. And so for it to go into sort of like, what do you think it's going to go into Pisces? What's sort of like your views on it? What do you feel?
So are you asking me?
Yeah.
So I think that it's talking about like kind of this creative process. It's like the continuation, and when I see the Eight of Pentacles, that's telling me that this is going to be a time for, well, for one thing, I think in Pisces season, you know, February, March, there's going to be physically something created in that time. Okay, I'm going to say that. I'm also going to say that the first draft isn't going to be perfect. So the first thing you do
No.
isn't going to be perfect. It's going to be a matter of practicing. It's going to be a matter of honing your skills, you know, mastering your craft and getting it to where you want it to be. And that might feel like a long process. You might start out and think, what is this shit? What is this indiscernible shit? But it's something that you need to be persistent and you need to stick with, and you need to be committed to it. Do you know what I mean? You need to kind of almost psych yourself up and prepare yourself to work through that phase, and get yourself through it. That's what I would see there. And it's a nice card because it tells me that, you know, not just this kind of a bettering yourself, but it tells me you have the potential to master it. Because for me, the eights are about perfection. They're about, you know,
Yeah.
it's momentum and kind of a movement, and all of this kind of a high energy state that's created by a solid foundation. So it is, like, to me, you don't get one without the other. So they're both
No.
two quite important things. You've got this stability that gives rise to this momentum. Um, so the momentum in your situation, this creative kind of a endeavor that we're looking at here, um, is, you know, that comes from the stability comes from practice, practice makes perfect kind of a thing. Practice makes perfect. There's a good way to
Yeah.
sum up that card.
Yeah.
Um, but
Because
that's what I would say about it.
Pisceans, or you know, Pisces are usually very psychic, aren't they?
Yeah,
They
so
sort of like have
mystical
that.
life is what
Yeah.
Pisces is about. It's your dreams and it's your fears and stuff.
So it's almost like I feel I dream quite a lot as well, and I dream
Right,
very vividly, and I feel
right.
like with seeing that and then having it in sort of like that Pisces position, and then tying it back to that Queen of Swords again, it's almost like, okay, well, I'm gonna like draw it out of here, and then we're going to like direct it into what you are doing to actually help me sort of like master and get through it.
Yeah. And do
Yeah.
you keep a dream journal?
Yes, I do.
Right, okay. You see how she's appears to be writing something down. I
Yeah.
can kind of see what it is she's drawing. It's kind of a like mathematical shapes. It looks as though she's like working out some Pythagoras and stuff there.
Oh my gosh, it is too. It's geometry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, what do we all think in the chat? Let's see. So I've kept my place with Beth's comment there. Um. See.
Good night, also. Have a good sleep.
Robin says, I thought you were speaking spiritually. I am a vapor, not a vapor. Never apologise for being you and doing your thing. No judgment in this space, says Ange.
Oh, thank you, Ange.
Um, let's see. Cards are showing all, says Diane. Yep.
It is
Spilling the
Deanne.
beans. Serving it up, says Ange. Or she says, I don't know, and I'm letting on. Cards are saying we see you. You can't take it.
No, not anymore.
Oh, thanks, Ange. Ange just linked your Instagram post. Oh, that's a point, actually. Ange or any of the other mods, could you do me a favour and link Marvin's channel? Um, his Instagram and his YouTube channel, and anything else that's appropriate.
Thank you so much.
So earlier I was going to say the soul card looked like the mind is activated, but the mouth is in darkness. So thinking about something and not wanting to speak about it yet, says Donna. Yeah, that's a good point.
This is all very like calculated risk, because I'm finding that as I enter into like my 30s, I can't be as belligerent as I was anymore when I was in my 20s. So even now, it's just like, okay, well, I'll go there, but like, let's just see, So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Good. You like to do the opposite of what you plan, secret, future, third party. You say that you don't want to talk about that. Yeah. Robin's asking, is it the 3 or the 8? It's definitely the 8, Robin.
It's the 8,
sorry,
Robin. Yeah.
you can't really see the numbers that well there, but if I zoom in for you, it's the 8. Building up your resilience, says Danielle. Yep, making record progress, says Beth. Oxygen level tests. Oh, sorry, you're talking about something else, aren't you? Or she's off to bed. Good night, or she have a good sleep. Queen to
Pentacles.
Queen to Pentacles, clear-headed. Production.
Yeah. I agree.
Vivid dreamer here as well, says Diane. Neptune influenced Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, yeah. Janine says the soul card, very random, camouflaged and protected by the earth in the midst, also protecting you from the darkness. The white part of the forehead is your light worker side, at one with the universe. Yeah. You're also Gemini, so it makes sense to have the light and the dark, the two sides.
I've been like talking to a friend of mine, and I got him to like read my chart, because I'm a Gemini sun, I am a Gemini moon, and I am a Sagittarius ascendant. So yeah, I mean, it's totally like, we're walking contradictions, and like most of the time I kind of just would prefer to not keep quiet, but just kind of like really think before I so yeah, I mean, the duality of a Gemini is it can be very like confusing and like, breakneck speed sometimes, but I kind of like mitigate that with like a lot of meditation, and art has been helping me quite a lot recently, which is really, really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. The light from your third eye chakra reflects your ability to be open-minded and ability to see the bigger picture, says Janine. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ange. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Ange. Thank you.
You're all fantastic. Thank you. All the links, says Ange. Silly Dreamer here, says Kristen. I dreamed the other night that Corbin was making chicken soup. That's how exciting my dream.
Do you love chicken soup?
I know chicken soup's awesome. So Gerald is back after looking at the Shimmering Veil. Still not really feeling connected to the images, so I will not be purchasing the deck at this time. Beth is subscribed to Marvin. Good stuff.
Oh, thank you so much, Beth.
My opinion, Silla's decks are too expensive to get and ship over here. If you're not sure, I can appreciate that. After seeing these cards, I realised that there is that in some ways the Sunqua scratches this aesthetic itch, right? Okay. That's not one that I've got, actually. I don't have Tarot de Sanquois.
Jerome.
One of my best friends is a Gemini. My Scorpio handles her quite well. It's exciting. I'm Scorpio and Sandy's Gemini. So I know all about that connection.
Oh, yes, I was with a Scorpio for about 7 years, and I was talking to a Scorpio friend of mine, and I said, you guys have started coming back into my life again. And for like a Gemini, what you Scorpios tend to do is you tell us to get on a trampoline, and then you tell us to jump higher and higher and higher and higher until we get into like this like whole nother level. And so the dynamic between a Gemini and a Scorpio is actually it's very interesting.
Yeah, true. Right, let's see. Shimon Fail, Sunqua. That connection to be clear. I liked it when others read with it. Just try to see if we've got. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next card. Now, the next
Yeah.
one is Aries. Now, Aries is the start of the astrological year. And it's all about the identity, the personality, and it runs from 21st of March up until the 19th of April. So March, April kind of time we're looking at here. Oh, we've got the 5 of fire. Light.
Yes.
Okay. Now, it's interesting. When I see the 5 of fire, quite often I kind of think about the journey through the fire suit or the wand suit. You know, at the ace we have this inspiration, this inspiration that just comes from somewhere. All of a sudden we're feeling passionate about something and it's everything's great. And the 2, we build that passion by exploring it. We explore different things. And the 3, we actually get stuff done. We actually start. We put ourselves out there. We take the risk and we put ourselves out there. And the 4, we're validated and it pays off. And it's like quite often it's tempting to stop at the 4. But then the 5 comes, and for me, the 5, and particularly the 5 of Wands, it's when other people come into the situation. So let's put it into context about what we're talking about. We're seeing this kind of a creative endeavor for you in the first part of the year, right? We're
Yes.
seeing the intellectual side of it. You kind of are drawing on your dreams, on all of the stuff that you're learning from what's going on around about you. We see you we see you creating in the kind of in the second month, shall we call it that? Um, and this, what I see as, right, okay, but Marvin's not the only one that's creating stuff. Whatever it is that you're planning on creating, you will not be the only one. And at
No.
some point, you're going to come to a situation. Let's just say that, let me pull a random concept out my arse here. Let's say you're making vases, right?
Yeah.
As in for a
Yeah.
flower, a vase, vase, however we want to pronounce it. Let's say that's what you're doing, right? You're drawing on your dreams. You spend time making loads and loads of vases or vases. You get to a point where you feel as though you're getting really quite good at it. All of a sudden, you look online and you're like, "Oh my god, there's all these people creating all these amazing vases. Like, how the hell am I
Imposter
going to put
im,
myself out there in amongst all of this competition?"
imposter
That,
syndrome.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's, I feel,
Okay.
what this is talking about.
Yeah.
Um, Quite often the solution to those thoughts, quite often the solution that the 5 of fire talks about, the positive side of it, is it's all about using your own kind of that energy, that energetic passion that you've built up. That's what kind of pushes you through. That's what gets you through. Um, so the competition, you need to kind of disrupt the thoughts that are intrusive, that are like, I'm not good enough. Those are all of these people are better than me. You need to stop yourself from kind of thinking like that, thinking facts and not opinions, and
Yeah.
you need to kind of push yourself through that phase. Okay, but it's coming in about, well, like 1, 2, 3 months time. You're going to start to get to that point where you're like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I've really got it in me because there's so many other people doing these amazing things. So just bear that in mind around about that time. you are good enough. You know, you are
Yeah.
absolutely amazing what you're doing. There's the potential for you to master your craft. You just need to kind of push yourself through phases like that. Okay.
For it, yeah, for it to like, for that to show up in Aries. It's kind of like it's quite like yeah, it's a cathartic moment, because to be honest, like ever since I sort of like started this project, and I do my thing of going online and just browsing through content, because I do follow other artists as well, there is that inner conflict, and that imposter syndrome does come up when Aries, in the position of Aries and where it is, what it is probably telling me is, remember that you do have that energy of the Queen of Swords from the beginning of the year, because I feel like with that first card for like that first season, it's going to be sort of like, the major arching energy. So her energy is going to pull me through that kind of conflicted time to just be like, hey, detach and be objective, because if you don't, then you're just going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just going to fizzle. So love Aries.
Great. Okay. I'm just trying to arrange these in such a way where we're going to be able to fit everything onto the table.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about it now. Okay, cool. Let's see what you guys think about our Aries card, about our Five of Fire. Stay. Trampolines are exciting, says Gerald.
Yes.
Scorpio and Gemini sounds like a game of whack-a-mole, flailing stinger, and dodging twin. Let's see. Oh, boing, boing. I read that as boring, boring. First, but no, boing, boing, as on the trampoline.
It's bouncing, yeah.
Right, Robin's got thoughts on the Five of Wands. So getting your plans organised so that something productive can be built. Don't get muddled by complications. Before I move on, actually, another thing about the Five of Wands is we quite often look at it and see competition to start with, but it doesn't always have to be like this competition situation where one person's the winner and the rest are losers. It can be
No.
a collaboration, it depends how you work that energy. You can kind of direct that energy in such a way that it's more productive, that the
Yeah.
fire energy. Um, so yeah, um, just another thought to throw out there. Ange says representing the occasional inner battle. That whole imposter syndrome feel, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so Nick says, yeah, when more people become involved in a passion project, it can create tension or conflict. You doubt yourself and you lose the energy and passion. Yeah, too many cooks and all that, spoil the broth.
Yeah, Nick
Um,
Nick is actually one of my friends. He is
oh,
on Instagram, and his handle is arcane_journal.
right.
If you want
Can
to go
someone
and check
link
him
that
out.
for me?
Yeah.
Nick's Instagram, and we'll get following him. And someone can send it in a Facebook message or something to me, or in an Insta message, so that
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
follow him as well. But hi Nick, it's lovely to have you here. He's a Gemini, so maybe he will be his own conflict. He's got this foundation built, and his Gemini other self is like, that's not what I wanted. So there might have an inner battle happening there.
Yeah.
It is, says Kristen, there is only so many times you can pull the King of Pentacles before you, you want to throw the. I think you must be talking about something else, but that's a brilliant comment.
Uh, yeah.
Donna
Yeah.
talks to the King of Pentacles as well. Five of Wands is also a card of Leo, so have some pride, says Nick. Yeah, is that Saturn in Leo? The five of
I'm
fire,
not.
the Five of Wands.
I'm not too sure. I've got like an RWS with all of like the glyphs on it, but it's over there.
Right. I went through a bit. Can I just actually? So do you see how? Do you see how Kristen's put the comma in? Kristen, did you
Yes.
write that first without the comma and think, oh no, I can't say Weird Donna because it looks like I'm just saying Weird Donna, and then did you go back and add in the comma? Because that's totally something that I would have done 100%, and I want to know if that's what you did now. Sorry. Right. Yeah, talking about stalker cards. Kristen says Five of Wands, creating friction can create needed fire. Yeah, so yeah, think about how people created fire.
So what I got from that was like, keep walking, Marvin, until you chafe. Just do it. Keep, just keep going.
Yeah. I don't, I don't know if I don't know if your nether regions would thank you for that, Marvin, but could the Five of Wands be competing ideas, kind of weeding out the best one or two ideas from multiple ones? It's saying buy 5 paintbrushes. Just kidding. Ange has linked Nick's Instagram, so thank you very much, Ange.
Thank you, Ange.
And she's also sent it to me. Ange, you're brilliant. You're
I
fantastic.
know
Can we just appreciate Ange?
the level of like accuracy and speed that Ange has is just like, it's amazing.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Donna says Weird Donna is also accurate. Five of Wands can be a struggle, which can be internal, but can include collaboration. Says Aspasia Rising, says Beth. Nick says, loving this, guys, but sorry, I've got to start my Zoom meetings for the day. We'll watch later. Well, you enjoy your Zoom meetings. I hope they go well, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
If you wear corduroy pants and keep walking, you could set your pants on fire, says Robin.
Yes, it has to be like, like a big whale of corduroy just to get it nice. And do you know that that's what it's called? Like the stripes, or the size of the stripes of the corduroy is called a whale.
Right. How do you know things like that?
I
don't even own a pair of corduroy trousers. I don't think I've ever worn anything corduroy. Do you have like an entire wardrobe of assorted coloured corduroy?
Well, not quite, but I do have like a background. What I studied in is I actually studied in fashion and design. So I worked with fabric quite a lot. Yeah.
There you go then. So what size is your whale? There's the question.
It's a big whale. It's a fat whale.
Oh my. Oh, the chafage. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Get that fire going. Just chafe away. Just
Oh dear. Right. So I think that's us for the 5.
Yeah.
We're on to Taurus now, and Taurus is all about our material possessions. It's things like money. It's things like our possessions, are things that we hold valuable in life.
It's home.
Interesting. We got the Judgment card.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if and I'm going to have to now start moving comments out the way and to stop from covering up the card. But do you see if you're thinking about possessing something, holding something in your hands, and we think about what the meaning of this position is. By the way, Taurus runs from the 20th of April up to the 20th of May. Do you see how all of the hands in this card are reaching for something, but they're not quite getting
It's not
there
there.
yet?
Yeah.
It looks as though they're reaching for something, but they're not quite there yet. So you're not going to hold the project in your hands by April, May time.
No.
Let's put it that way. Just to kind of continue on what we were talking about here, we're talking about kind of interrupting these kind of intrusive thoughts and disrupting them and stopping them. We also don't want to become, in that same vein, we don't want to become overly judgmental of ourselves. We don't want to get ourselves to a place where, so I feel as though a lot of us make the mistake of living life for the big judgment days, for
Yeah,
the big exams, for the tests, for the big finale. You can feel free to disagree with me, anyone, but I actually don't think life is about that. I think life is about the everyday experiences, the big and small. Everything that happens to us. If you're constantly I mean, I do it myself. I always look forward to the weekend. But I'm writing off like I work 4 days a week and I'm off three. If I'm constantly looking forward to the weekend, I'm writing off like 4 out of 7 days of my life,
that's
almost.
right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's about going with the everyday experiences and the good, the good and the bad, and accepting them as what they are as part of life and part of our big journey, kind of a thing. Um, so why did I even start talking about that? I don't know. Maybe we just feel as though that's going to be important in April, May time, around
Yeah,
Taurus
it is.
season.
It is because usually like during that time of the year, like from Pisces,
Hmm.
Taurus, oh sorry, Aries, and then Taurus, and then Gemini. It's usually like a pit stop for me for the year, just to like reevaluate and like look back and just see where things are tracking goal wise, or if I've actually achieved anything at all.
Yeah,
Now, I know, like before we started, I did tell you that my card of the year that I've drawn for this year is the Judgment card, and I've got my
yeah,
journal right beside me. And my card of the year, Judgment, and I quote unquote, look back, don't stare.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, in sort of like the material world of things with Taurus's energy and what's surrounding me, obviously there's already something that has been created all throughout that, and then this is just kind of like a checkpoint for me, just to see, is this um this is a realization that this is real.
yeah,
It's now like it's in, not quite finished, but it's there.
yeah,
Huge card. Usually for some people, I think they do read it as karmic release. So
yeah, yeah. True,
mm,
I suppose.
yeah.
Um, I agreed. I don't know. I don't know if I do. I think maybe see justice has been more about the kind of a karma card. Although I can understand, but I suppose justice and judgment are kind of a two sides of the same coin, if you want to put it that way, aren't
Yeah,
they? In that way.
yeah.
But anyway, let's see what you guys have got to say about the
Great.
judgment card. So, Robin, I saw that you'd asked which card it was. So it is judgment. I've held it up close, so hopefully everyone's got a really good look at it. Um, Beth freaking loves corduroy. It's coming back. Not into my wardrobe at any time, Beth. I can assure you. But to each their own. Zip, zip, zip. Love. Zip, zip, zip. The sound of corduroy ties. Um, Donna's loving it too. Um, Unfairly disparaged. Oh, sorry. So you're getting annoyed at me because I'm slagging off corduroy. Um, let's see. So Danielle says, "Man, this is just playing out as a story that fit in with the five re-evaluation. Come to the next stage, revelation." Ange says your creations are coming from a deeper place, an inner knowing. There can be power in sharing your struggles. Um, this deck is interesting, but not so easy to identify the cards. Well, they're labelled. I know the labels are quite small. It's maybe not the best in this medium, but they are easy to discern when you're looking at them in person. Yeah. Right. It's a tiny judgment. Beth is pointing out judgment is discernment again. That's all I'm seeing tonight. That's okay, Beth. I think we're all the same. Anyone who loves riffle shuffling should love corduroy. Well, I proved that wrong then, don't I? I'm the opposite to that rule. That makes total sense. Right, next we have Gemini. Gemini runs from the 21st of May up until the 20th of June. When's your birthday, Marvin?
The 3rd of June.
3rd of June. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Sandy's the 5th, so you're just 2 days before Sandy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Gemini. All about communication with others. For anyone that's interested. Oh. I've got the 7 of Fire. Or 7 of Wands, if you will.
Okay.
So we're continuing right next to each other because look, in both we get this feeling of reaching for something.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
With the Judgment card, I did say I feel as though what they're reaching for is kind of a beyond their reach. Sevens, though, for me, are all about putting yourself into uncomfortable positions. Behave, Chris. No, like it's like putting yourself out there. It's going outside the box. Do you know what I mean? It's going to places that you wouldn't normally. In order to achieve new things, it's that growth from stability. So you kind of work your way all the way. You've had your challenges and your 5, and your 6. It's this victory. You've met that challenge head on. You're victorious through it. And then it's like, well, surely nothing can go wrong now. Surely that's me. I've done my journey. Well, no, you've reached this place of stability. You've reached this place of harmony, but there's still more that can be learned. You need to kind of push yourself past that happy place that you've created for yourself, that you feel that you fully deserve now that you've managed to work through the kind of the 5. That's what comes in the 7. It's after you've reached that place of right, that I've created this space for myself. It's like right, okay. But as soon as you stop learning, as soon as you stop pushing yourself, then what's the point, kind of a thing. So we need to always remember to be pushing ourselves. And I feel as though that's what we're seeing in the card. We're seeing this person. They're coming through this portal of light into the darkness, right? So they can't see what they're kind of reaching for. So they're taking it's like a stab in the dark, almost literally.
Yeah,
they're reaching for something that's in the dark that they can't see, but it's almost like, well, do they have to have faith that it's there? Do they need to use their discernment that we've seen so much about so far? It's they're pushing themselves outside their comfort zone, which is this wee circle of light, into the darkness to reach for something beyond, for something greater. So that's going to be important for you. And that's in Gemini season, so that's going to be around about when your birthday is.
Yeah, so
you're going to find yourself in a place where you are kind of reaching beyond. You're pushing yourself, and if it's not you pushing yourself, then someone else might be kind of pushing you on and saying, "Come on, you keep going. You can do better," kind of a thing. That type thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the 7 of Wands? Or on the 7 of Fire on that 7?
On the Gemini thing, on the Gemini position, I feel that it is definitely probably going to be one of those things where moving on from the Judgment card, where something's like out of reach. It's almost like it's like a polar opposite sort of visually for me, because if you actually have a look at the Judgment card, it's these beings sort of like reaching for the light, and then it kind of like flips itself around, and it's just like, actually it's not there. So I think I'm gonna have to like dig with the 7 of Wands, I'm gonna have to like dig deep, like you said, like, you know, into like the deeper,
Yeah.
possibly more like, you know, shadow aspects of both my psyche and my experiences to actually push myself through,
Yeah.
and continue to create, because there is a use for me anyway, for things in the lighter side of nature and then in the darker side of the nature of the human being.
Yeah.
And it's funny that it came up in Gemini because that's actually around like the start of winter time here. So the earth is just dying. And, you know, it's kind of like what it reminds me as well of it is, you know, it's kind of like what's inside of the hermit's lamp. So if you
Yeah.
have a look at the hermit card and then you look inside and there's that sort of like glowing ember, that's actually what's inside. And I feel like, artwork wise, it's going to be extremely interesting again, because, you know, things might sort of like shift and change a little bit as time goes along. In the context of communication, I feel like you see, there's probably going to be someone continuously like pushing and like communicating and saying, hey, you know what, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings in the whole communicating with others thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Um, it, yeah, definitely. Kind of a pushing you on, but as
Yeah.
well, like, is the key. So you kind of get as though you're going through this period of like kind of a reaching for something and not quite getting there, but not quite sure why you're not getting there. All of a sudden you realize like you have to kind of a step outside. Don't just keep trying the same thing and expecting a different result. You need to
Yeah.
try something different. But is that something different? Communicating with someone that you wouldn't have before? Is it about bringing
Probably.
in, asking for help or asking for an opinion or just looking for help from someone, communicating with someone that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of before? Is that what you're reaching for, in the dark there?
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be something to think about. It could be representing something completely different, but it's just something to have in mind around about
Yeah.
that time, I think.
Yeah. I mean, doing this kind of like project is, it's very personal, and it also sort of, you know, brings you to, you know, the highs, like I've found out so far, like the highs and the lows of your own like personal life with what you're doing.
Mm,
And sometimes when I draw, you know, like the other day, I think it was, no, it wasn't the other day, it was the day before that, I was drawing and I just couldn't get the skin tone right. And then I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I kept going. And I was just like, you know, this is probably like a reflection of some of like the experiences that I have had, you know, regarding, you know, how people see me because of my outer appearance.
right.
And I was actually like working on like a specific skin tone, like much similar to mine. And then
Right.
afterwards, I was just like, don't force it, leave it. And it took me like 3 drafts before, you know, something happened. And what got me through that sort of blocker was like knowing when to pull back, and then just sort of like accepting that those things have like happened to me, and that it doesn't necessarily um, identify me as a whole,
Yeah.
because what I'm working on at the moment has a lot to do with my own cultural background.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, those could be some that could just be like a taste of what I could experience in June.
Yeah.
I'm 33, 33 this year.
Right. That's what age I am just now. I'll be
Yeah,
34
yeah.
in November. Okay, let's see what you guys think. Um, so so that's us trying to find out what Marvin has up his sleeve and him fending us off. Um, that Seven of Wands is very different from what I'm used to. It looks like it's leaping across a void. Maybe the Seven is defending the light against the darkness. Okay. The Seven of Wands, clear boundaries will assist you as you continue to reach for your goals and desires, says Ange. I know this is your sorry. I love this. You know your goal that will project you forwards. All you need to do is catch the solid thing in the fire. It's a defensive card in relation to the judgment. Defend your position, says Robin. This reminds me of the light and dark and the soul card again, says Donna.
Yes.
This particular Seven of Wands card in this deck reminds me of trust. If you've ever watched trapeze artists, there's a large amount of trust and skill involved. Yeah, definitely. Do you know, I hesitate to say this because once you kind of see it, you can't unsee it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Does it not look like someone is tightrope walking over a volcano and they've fallen in? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Beth says, or a closer look at the same idea shown on the judgment card, just showing the struggle more closely, heading towards the goal still. So just kind of a continuing that process that we see in the judgment card, reaching towards the, what might be the final product, and getting closer and closer to it.
Right.
But interesting to see what comes next then, won't it? At that point, it may be time to let the cat out of the bag in order to get feedback, says Donna. Adding the communication of the Gemini to help you, or the Gemini ability to shift and be flexible, says Beth. Right, okay. We're going to move on now to Cancer, which is all about home and family life. And Cancer runs from the 21st of June up to the 22nd of July. And we actually have the 3 of Earth here. So we had the 8 over here and Pisces, wasn't it? So both water cards, we've got these, both water positions, we've got these Earth cards.
Earth
That's
cards,
quite
yeah.
interesting.
Wow.
I love that we've got a card that's, for me, all about creativity. Now, I'm going to explain a bit about the image that we see in the card here, because I think it's helpful to know what we're actually looking at. Sorry, Beth, I'm going to have to shift you out of the way here. So let me pop that there. So let me read from the book, just to kind of let you see what the image is. It's basically someone who's running and seeing all these kind of, I think, paintings on cave walls and stuff. So deep within the earth, 2 figures look up at some enormous wall paintings of animals and imaginary hunts. The sites of each animal have been carefully chosen so that the flickering torches give an illusion of movement and life. 30,000 years in the past, these early humans painted their worlds using natural pigments. Sorry, I'll hold it actually in the shot. Using natural pigments and imagination to create magic for their community. The card is traditionally about the interaction and work with colleagues in service of society. Here we have added dimensions of connection with the earth itself, creativity, in the service of society and our spiritual beliefs, and the ability to collaborate with others to create something that will last through eons. The purpose of these ancient cave paintings is still debated. The paintings were very expensive in terms of time and resources. What was the ritual purpose, given they were often created in almost inaccessible caves many hundreds of meters underground? It's now thought that they were created as part of shamanic rituals where specific individuals of the tribe would go into trance, psychically sharing in the minds and bodies of the animals that they painted. So we still get this idea of collaboration, but we get the idea of collaboration with generations to come. So this idea of creating something that it's still going to be about, that people are still going to be looking at and wondering over and talking about in years to come. Okay, so don't just think about like kind of a working in the here and now with someone else. Think about the the collaborative effect that your endeavors will have. What
Yeah, it's creation and legacy, and
yeah,
sort of like legacy and posterity terms.
yeah,
And that's I love that card. I love the colors that are on it, and to just sort of like have this very enclosed feeling to it is very, very warm and is really appropriate for Cancer. um
yeah,
I feel that actually I've met a friend recently who is a Cancerian, and not a lot of people really have the not ability, but sometimes not a lot of people kind of have that personality where they can sort of like open me up a little bit. I'm kind of like a really, really like highly like thought process and cerebral person, but to meet this
right.
person, it's almost like, oh, you have a heart. So in Gemini, I mean, sorry, in the position of Cancer, and with the three of sword, no, Three of Pentacles. Yeah, it's the Three
Yeah,
of
three
Pentacles.
better.
Yeah,
That's it.
I can definitely sort of like see that person sort of, like being there and collaboratively like working with them, not necessarily with my project, but just sort of like as we've got each other's back. And if things get a little bit hard in the process of creating something, then there's always those people that you can rely on, who you can sort of like bounce ideas off of. And
Right.
then at the same time, they're going to sort of like carry that through with them, so there's that like equal exchange um, of support, which is really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
You will have to excuse me for about like 20 seconds because I have to go to the bathroom because I accidentally drank a cup of coffee.
That's
Okay.
absolutely fine. You take your time.
Okay.
What I'll do
Yeah.
is I'll kind of have a look and catch up on the comments.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
guys. So let's see what you guys think about the Three of Pence. So Ange says, I really appreciate hearing everyone's perceptions and interpretations. Thanks, Ange. This makes me think of working with ancestral energy. Collaboration is hopeful of bringing positive results, says Robin. Three of Pentacles for Ange says walking deeper into your inner creative side and learning from and integrating all that you've experienced in the past. Um, Cave painting to bring about a successful hunt. Guys, by the way, see if anyone else wants to go make a quick cup of tea, cup of coffee, go to the toilet or whatever. We're actually at the halfway point. So if anyone else wants to go, sort themselves out, then feel free. I'll probably have another look at the comments when Marvin is back, so you won't miss anything. So fire away. Um, oh, here he is. Are you on mute? I can't hear you. Yeah,
Here we go. Done.
sorted.
Yeah.
Um, right. Okay, so I was just having a wee look at the comments that we got. So we had Donna had said this makes me think of working with ancestral energy. Robin says collaboration is hopeful of bringing positive results. Um, Ange says the Three of Pentacles walking deeper into your inner creative side and learning from and integrating all that you've experienced in the past. Robin says cave painting to bring about a successful hunt. Okay. Um, An inner collaboration, says Ange. Beth says, so this Three of Pence is a direct evolution of the reaching out the Gemini, aka Marvin, has put out into the universe. The Seven of Wands communicated the struggle, the three answers with a soul collaboration. Robin says the aspect of ancestry could apply to Marvin's connection to his ancestors and his project. Yeah. Like the
Like the
Angono.
Angono petroglyphs in the Philippines.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Very, very good, Kristen.
Ange says go pee. Donna is going to feed the dogs. And
You go and
Ange says
feed your
she's going to go.
babies.
So I told everyone to go and sort themselves out.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
we're at the halfway point. So we are, or well, I suppose we're just beyond the halfway point now.
yeah.
So how are you feeling? So no, wait.
You know,
How can we be?
so we've got January, February, no,
We're halfway.
Aquarius.
We're halfway.
Yeah,
We've got six
halfway.
cards on
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's okay.
got my own head there. We got. Um, how are you feeling so far about the reading? Or is it making
You know,
sense? Or
it does make sense because I came into this project being very sort of realistic about how long it's going to take and how much effort is going to be in it, and sort of like the peaks and the troughs and sort of like the valleys and the rivers that I have to like cross. And this reading in itself actually speaks for that, experience all throughout this year. So, I mean, nothing really is extremely either, I don't have like a visceral reaction to any of them or a response to them, but I'm just sort of like going with the flow and like taking it how it is.
good?
It feels really good to have actually someone else like do it, because the challenges that every individual reader has when they're actually like reading the cards for themselves, especially if it's like for the year, is that we sort of like get into that mental space of like, okay, well, I've laid the cards out, so this is how it's going to be. So like for me, this is like really, really good because it's kind of like a second opinion. I'm gonna rewatch this later, and then I'm actually going to like add certain elements from this reading like into my own as well, because it's always nice to see another point of view, or to see a reading from another reader. So I feel really good about it. I mean, 9 times out of 10, what I actually see within this reading itself is generally just Gemini. It's like the light side and like the dark side, and
Yeah,
it kind of encourages me to know and use the discernment to actually like go to those places where things are light, to pull inspiration from it, or things that are like dark and pull inspiration from it. So
yeah,
it's very it's encouraging,
yeah.
and you should do this more often.
More often than once. Um, to be honest with you, there's not that I don't have that much uptake for it. Like I have a couple of people that that are interested in doing it.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's. I wouldn't want to like do one every week and then
No,
I
no,
run out
no.
of people after. I want to kind of do it so as that got at least some sort of consistency, and I feel as though one a month is about right just now. But I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
everyone knows, like as I always say, and I might as well do a wee plug for it just now. Like if you're interested on coming on and doing the roundtable reading with me, then you just need to kind of let me know in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's leaving a comment on a video for me, whether it's sending me a private message on Facebook or Instagram, emailing me. That my email address is elementalcartomancy@gmail.com. Get in touch with me somehow and let me know, because I'm wanting to kind of do this with anyone that's interested. And I get that it's not for everyone. I get that not everyone wants to come on and have their cards read in front, in public essentially, on
Right,
a
right.
live YouTube. So I appreciate that, and that's why I appreciate so much everyone that does come on. Okay, shall we move
Whew.
on? So that was Cancer, wasn't it?
Yes, that was.
And that was from 21st of June up to the 22nd of July. Um, what I'm going to do, because I have the camera at a slight slant, so I don't have as much room at this side as what I did at this side, because it's kind of a like
Yeah.
pointing in a funny direction. So I need to make room for myself. So let's see. I think we're good for a bit. So the next one is Leo, and Leo runs from the 23rd of July up until the 22nd of August. And this is talking about creativity and love life, apparently.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
okay, we have this is a beautiful card. We've got the Six of Water, and we're actually continuing with this idea of like art that's I mean that it has a very similar feel to it that as the the cave art does. Um, but do you know? I actually kind of feel like this is your time to take a wee break from all the fire, all of the creation, all of the creativity, all of the kind of I mean, there gets to a certain point where your brain's just like, oh my God, like this started off an absolute passion project. I love
Yeah.
this and this is why I wanted to do it. I just cannot bear to look at it anymore. Like we all burn out at some point and we all need to kind of take a bit of a rest. And I feel as though this is your opportunity to do that as in Leo season. Okay. Um, I just feel that for me, the Six of Water is about emotional harmony. It's about kind of after, you know, again, thinking about the journey from Ace through to Six, after the kind of the difficulties that we undergo in the Five, Six is about getting back to that place of harmony. And, obviously, water being the emotional suit. We can do that through, memories, through, just taking ourselves back to a simpler place in life and time and in life. So for me, this represents taking a bit of a break from all of the fire, all of the passion, all of the creativity, and all of the stuff that you're trying to do, and just maybe just like I don't know, just taking a bit of a rest, taking a bit of a step back, just chilling out a bit from it, and not stopping it altogether, but just having a wee bit
Take
of a
a
breather. What do you think? Because the Six of Water isn't going to mean that for everyone.
that card. Usually it's in the RWS. It's a Six of Cups. It's a Six of Cups, right?
Six of Cups, yeah.
Yeah.
Six of Water, Six of Cups.
When I usually see the Six of Cups, it kind of like brings me back to those days when I used to sort of like just be carefree and
Yeah.
just sort of, I don't know, certain memories like when I used to live in the Philippines and stuff. One of the things that I used to love doing is to just actually, sit in the rain
Right.
and to just sort of I mean I wouldn't actually sit in the rain like during that time because we are the city that I live in, which is Wellington, is like probably the windiest city in the world, and when it gusts here, it's not like I could just do a romantic thing outside of like, yeah, I'm gonna sit in the rain. No. But it's sort of being inside and being cocooned and those sort of like memories that I have as a child. And oftentimes, what I do when I am doing artwork is that I listen to music from that time. So, like from the early 90s through to like the 2000s. I mean, the other day I found myself listening to Hilary Duff. Come on. And that kind of thing would be really good for Leo season because it does bring me back to the hearth of the home,
Yeah.
which is my culture. So that could possibly mean taking time out from social media a little bit and to just recalibrate myself and go to my Filipino best friends places like here, and just sort of reconnecting with that, because to tie that back into the Three of Pentacles in the cave drawings, it seems like from what I can see, it's almost like, okay, well, here is the outset, and then, okay, well, there's a little bit of like turbulence here, and then now it's time for you to like regroup. So yeah, you're right. Like I can totally see the sense in the fact that it's kind of like going inward again and just having a little like hibernation period.
Yeah.
Because you know, I'm gonna be like brutally honest. Like I worked so fast that I just sort of like burned myself out. You know,
Right.
all that chafe can be very, very harmful. So you know, it's time to rest. It's time to put the cooling cream on and just
Yeah.
enjoy Leo season. Leo season
Hang
is
up
so
those
nice.
corduroys
Yeah.
and put them away for the season of Leo.
Yeah. I love Leo season. When Leo season usually like comes around, I just feel really, really good. And I think part of that is to just rest, have an R&R with, friends. I mean, me and my friends used to like go out all the time in our 20s, but as we headed into our 30s and whatnot, like the simplest thing of gathering together and cooking and like sharing a meal with each other and just hearing like, your own language and, eating like the food that you grew up with. It's very nourishing and
Yeah.
it's very re-energizing. So yeah, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, makes
Brilliant.
sense.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
mean, you've said that your project is rooted around, it's around your roots. Do you not rooted around your roots? Wow. But I mean, like it's all based around your roots, your Philippine roots. So
Yeah,
like in the process of, taking yourself back to that space, it's an opportunity to gain more inspiration. Do you know what I mean?
that's right. That's right.
Which is
That's
quite
right.
nice.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Let's see what we've got here. Um, so Ange concerned that you might need another coffee. Janine, it'll be interesting to see anything that you create. Marvin, art to me, and the love of it is similar to why children love books. You can go into your own little world, and your imagination can go AWOL. Um, Six of Cups, what you're leaving for the generation that follow us. And the Six of Cups, we see the person stepping back and reflecting. It's reminding you to step back and appreciate how far you've come and all that you've accomplished thus far. Breathe and begin again. These cards, the Three of Pentacles, the past, the Six of Cups, the future, legacies.
Legacies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny actually because just thinking about that, like if I was thinking in normal terms, the Six of Cups would probably make me think more of the past than what the Three of Pentacles. If I'm just thinking of a normal last Smith way or a normal deck, Six of Cups definitely has more past vibes, and probably Three of Pence more leans towards future vibes to me.
Yeah.
Than whereas here we have it the opposite way around. So that's an interesting kind of observation there, Robin.
It's okay. Gemini, Chris. Gemini.
This
Yeah.
actually implies to me a space of tranquility. That's a beautiful card. It makes me wonder if you'll take a vac. I don't think that's a
Vaccination.
vaccination. Oh my God, what has COVID done? A vacation, rejuvenate, mentally step back.
Yeah.
Beth says, feels to me like an affirmation of the soul, collaboration with ancestors. In the three, it's calmer, it's an easier time of integrating all that you've learned, feeling rather than struggling after aid from ancestors. Ange and the water element of the cups reminds you to replenish, nourish, and hydrate after all that you've been through. Donna, drawing on experiences of the past, maybe even past lives. Kristen, don't forget it's okay to draw outside the line sometimes. Just get lost in the art itself, chillax. And yeah, vacation, not vaccination. Right, that was our Leo card.
Mm.
We're now on to Virgo.
My favorite sign.
That's Robin is a Virgo. So
Yeah.
yes. We've got the Nine of Water. So we're continuing with the water here. But this is the big wish card, isn't it? This is the big kind of a emotional fulfillment. This is getting what you've asked for, getting what you've dreamed for. Um, so everything that you're aiming for, what you're trying to do, it looks as though there's the real potential that you'll achieve it in this season. So Virgo season is from the 23rd of August up until the 22nd of September. And it's a sign that talks about kind of your work, your day to day kind of a work, your chores, your stuff that you do day to day, that your responsibilities, basically, the stuff that gets you through life.
Yeah.
Um, Nine of Water, yeah. I mean, just looking at the expression on, look at the person and the card. Um, what does that look like to you? Does that look like melon or something? Not melon, mango.
Yes, it
Uh,
looks like a mango, or it also looks like it kind of reminds me of the inside of a dragon fruit.
yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but very kind of a watery feels down below.
Mm.
So yeah, really, really beautiful card.
Guess
Um,
what?
what?
It's actually reached it now.
Yeah, you're finally holding your dragon fruit after all of this
Yes,
reaching.
that's
You
right. That's
finally,
right.
you finally got it.
Yeah.
Finally holding it in your hands, and you're going to be able to taste that dragon fruit. Oh,
It's
um,
that's amazing. I mean that to me like sort of like says, you can achieve what you sort of want to do with consistency in like, the Virgo card, because Virgos are very, very consistent people.
yeah,
Like day to day. It's like all of like the little habits that you actually cultivate in order to actually get that bigger picture.
yeah.
I know Virgo very well because my mother is a Virgo.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah,
three of my best friends are also Virgo. And so Virgo to me is I'm kind of like the kite, right? And it's flying and it's flying, but the you know, Virgo people have this sort of like very grounding element. It's like, hey, wind your neck in before you like, go too far. Make sure that everything is in order. Make sure
yeah,
that everything is in place and you're doing all of the little things to support your big dream. And that
yeah,
is when you will actually find, what was it? Something just came into my head. That's when you will find joy in being consistent, and there is now purpose for your work instead of it just sort of like flying around like a white
yeah.
wacky like waving man. So yeah, very good. I love it.
Good, good stuff. So Robin's agreeing here. It looks like September brings success. It's the time to celebrate and dance. Yep. Um, Donna
Oh,
sees a peach slice. In Virgo season, you can feel happy and accomplished with your work, which is rare for a Virgo, but go for it, says Beth. Um, Nine of Cups, your work is paying off and it's time to celebrate and be grateful for the journey that's led you here. Rejoice and let this energy carry you.
yeah.
Danielle, emotional fulfillment with the work you put in. I don't think I can say more. Um, this Virgo's got you. Is and I take it as Virgo as well then, yeah. This card looks like success and celebration. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Robin's hit it in the head. I think September is going to be a good month for you, or Virgo season, because a wee bit of August as well. It's
Yeah.
going to be a good month for you. There's going to be much cause for celebration and yeah, in that season. Let's move on then. We move on to Libra. Now,
Libra.
Libra
Yes,
runs from the
I.
23rd of September to the 22nd of October. And we've got more celebration, more joy, more happiness coming with the Sun card. So I feel as though this is almost like a continuation, you know? You can almost see this as like a mini Sun card, it's the Sun
Yes.
equivalent in the minors to, because for me, the sun is all about realizing the divine, recognizing the divine within yourself, recognizing everything about you that's awesome and that's great and that's kind of your niche in the world. It's your purpose here. And in because of that, it gives you this feeling of joy, of kind of a fulfillment, happiness, and it makes you want to celebrate. That is,
I
in a
mean,
nutshell, what the sun is to me.
yeah, everything is like, balance of the scales of Libra in conjunction with the sun card that you have there. It's like, this is everything. And what you see right now with the work that you have done, and because you have taken, you've gone through like the peaks and the troughs and the valleys of your journey in itself, it's like, this is how it is. And it's actually really nice.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
yeah,
Enjoy
definitely,
it.
definitely.
I feel like that sun card as well. It's almost like I'm actually like holding it, just like continuing on to from the Nine of Cups card. It's almost like it's up there now, and then the point of view of the sun card is actually holding it, and keeping that energy and sort of like balance and in continuum.
Yeah,
It's I love Libras. I like air signs. I'm not gonna like bag any other signs because obviously there's like, a multitude of people with different signs here, but Libra is one of those signs which is it's very grounding for me because it's almost like a continuation, because Libra is a cardinal sign, isn't it? It's a cardinal sign,
uh,
so it's
so
the one.
Aquarius
No,
is
it's not.
fixed,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
Gemini is mutable. So yeah, I think Libra is
it's a card.
cardinal.
Yeah. And so, it's kind of like a continuation of, the both sides of the Gemini. And so, it's equilibrium. It's equilibrium. And also it looks like it just looks really warm. So
Yeah,
that's nice. It's
yeah. As in
nice.
the sun, the thing about I always like to think about our sun when I see the sun card and what we get from it. I'm sure that the summertime it brings all this joy and happiness and stuff. But vitamin D, we get that from the sun. The sun is a card of healing as well as joy and happiness and all this kind of thing. You know, so it heals past wounds, past ills, and that's something to think about as well. Although to be
Mm,
fair, this is quite a positive looking reading. There's nothing in
it
this so
is.
far, touch wood, that is looking absolutely catastrophic.
Let's wait.
There is a
Let's wait
lot
for.
of fire. There's a lot of
Let's.
fire in it, is what I would say. Um,
Uh, I'm just waiting for what you draw for Scorpio season, because Scorpio
well,
season
I
is
was
always
going to
very,
say
very
Scorpio's next
interesting
up,
for
so
me.
we'll see what good old Scorpio has for you. I may or may not be taking credit for the next card. We'll see what it is for. So with that, we have. Oh, hang on. Did I talk? Did I? I didn't go to people's
No,
comments for the sun, did I?
not yet.
So we had. Hang on. I remember thinking. Right, that's the one that I need to. Someone said, "Wow!" Oh, there it is, Beth. Wow, wow, wow! It made me think of that Kylie song. Um, that's all I have to say. Then Anne just got a different song. Here comes the sun. Robin says, yes, Chris, September to October, just even bigger and better. Donna says, yeah, the figure is holding up the sun. I want to reach through the screen and layer these two cards together. So do you want me to do it for you, Donna, just so you can see?
Yes, yes.
Um,
That's
so
beautiful.
Ange says the sun is that warm and joyous energy that's continuing to carry you from that Nine of Cups that we just spoke of. Soak it up. Robin says it's amazing how these cards evolve and flow from one into the other in a natural progression. Um, that has been this has been a beautiful a beautiful reading, hasn't it, Robin? It's a beautiful Robin too. Let's just say, but it has been a beautiful reading, hasn't it, Robin? Janine says, "Wow, I never realised how amazing the artwork was on the soul cards." Janine, just to be clear, by the way, this is the only soul card. The rest of the deck is Cilla Conway's Shimmering Veil Tarot. But the artwork on both is amazing. But I just wanted to be clear there because I'm not sure if you're thinking these are all soul cards. Colors are running in succession from cool to warm. Yeah. Beautiful and insightful. I'm pulling these cards from the Shivering Veil as we go along. Oh, that's really good. So you can kind of see them in front of you, Ange.
Lovely.
And Donna's saying thank you. You're very welcome. Right, let's stick that back there and we'll go into Scorpio.
I am so into.
No.
I told you. just lay it out. It's all right. It's okay.
Scorpio represents major changes, and it runs from the 23rd of October up until the 21st of November. We've got the 9 of air. We've got the 9 of swords.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. So we obviously see a bit of a turnaround here. We do see a major change in the Scorpio season, which is about major changes. We almost kind of see ourselves going back to this place of high mental energy. See where we started off. Now, we started off being able to kind of channel that mental energy.
Yeah, that's right.
Really quite productively. Now, I would argue that with the 9 of swords, the 9 of air, we still have that potential. It represents a place of high mental intellectual energy, and sure, like more often than not, that mental energy misfires, and that's how we get ourselves into this kind of just this big ball of overthinking and being stressed and quite negative uh, psychological spaces.
That's right. Yeah.
There's definitely a corner that's been turned in Scorpio season. I suppose the only kind of a saving grace is forewarned is forearmed.
Yeah.
So if you know that maybe to expect this kind of a period coming up, then you can prepare yourself for it. And like I say, you be conscious of that. You do have the potential. And I say this because when I pull this card, when I pull the 9 of air or the 9 of swords or whatever it is, for myself on a daily basis, if I'm working and I pull the 9 of swords as my card of the day, I know for a fact that this is I'm either going to make it or I'm going to break it. I'm either going to be so up in my own head that I can't get anything done all day, or I'm going to be able to use that high mental energy and get a shitload of stuff done.
That's right.
So this
right.
can have a really positive effect as well as a really negative effect.
Yeah.
It's just about how you take that energy and use it.
I mean,
What do you think?
I mean, at the end of the day, like the family of the swords, in my own sort of study of the family of the swords, of the sword suit. Now, when I first started, it was just like negative this, blah 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 blah, high anxiety. However, being a Gemini and being like an air sign, this here, especially in Scorpio season, what it actually tells me is that, okay, well, you've jumped high enough in the trampoline in the last month. And so Scorpio's like, well, you have to think about these things in a more realistic emotional level and not let the anxiety, take over everything in your life and be pervasive in your life. So to actually have this in Scorpio, it's kind of like we've gone through and jumped on the trampoline and then wait, yep, you've jumped high enough. Scorpio season, another trampoline. You got to jump higher, but this time you got to make sure that you don't break your knees. Soft knees, and I love the 8, the 9, and the 10 of swords because it tells me that there is mental effort that has been done and then a lot of thought that has been put into it. and then the cycle is about to like change again. I love endings as much as I love beginnings. I've just learned to, sort of mitigate those two things. And I knew that Scorpio season was always going to bring me something very interesting. I love my Scorpios. I have quite a few of them in my life as of late. And, very, very great teachers, very great emotional teachers. So I always appreciate something that comes out of a Scorpio's mouth, because it is very sincere and it comes from, it kind of like mitigates this whole eerie Gemini thing that I have where it's like, oh my God, nothing's happening. Everything is happy. La la la. No, it's not. Like, you got to know how to be like grounded in reality. So highly appreciate Scorpio. When you actually pulled that, I was like, yeah, it's either going to be the Tower, it's either going to be the Ten of Swords, either the 8 or the 9. And yeah, that's right. But at least, like with this sort of card as well, it's not the 8 of Swords where you feel like what is binding you is like everything around you. Like the bind is in the mind. Do you like that? The bind is in the mind. And, I'll definitely take that into consideration during that time. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Cool. And we do have 2 9s happening here. So it's almost like the way that I'm looking at this is we're seeing the progress of this, whatever this creative project is that you're planning, this big secret. We're kind of almost tracking that all the way through. We actually see it culminating. We see it being achieved. We see whatever it is, the big celebration, and it's almost like it comes to its natural ending point, which is what Scorpio talks about. It's like the death card. It's like it's ending.
Yeah.
And why we talk about it meaning major changes. And it's
Yeah.
like, you've just had this. It's kind of like boxing, like the day after Christmas.
That's right.
You've had all of this emotional energy, and then it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
all done now. It's like, what will I do with myself now? And sometimes it just takes yourself that wee bit of time to get back into action. To snap back. And sometimes we need to have this period of kind of a just, yeah, we need to have this 9 of Swords moment before we can
Yeah.
kind of get ourselves back in there.
Yeah.
Let's see what everyone else thinks about this.
Oh, this is going
So
to be
we're saying,
interesting.
brace yourself for Scorpio. Is it going to be the Tower? Is it going to be Death? Not so bad, says Ange. Robin's saying 9 of Swords. Whatever it is, it's likely only in your mind. What a nightmare, says Robin. Very good. Thinking it's too good to be true, says Danielle. Robin says going from so much light to so much darkness, maybe a bit of self-doubt. With this reading, you can prepare yourself for a low after the high in Scorpio season, or overwhelm or exhaustion, says Beth. Robin, maybe just a hibernating period after so much expended energy. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. A period of low vibration, mental rest, and self-care is called for, says Donna. Ange says 9 of Swords, the highs and the lows. Life is a series of peaks and valleys. This card is reminding you that during the lows, reach out to your community if you require support. We've got Beth that's saying Scorpio brings attention to cycles. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. Out of your head and into your heart, says Ange. Robin says, Chris, you handsome fucker, try to make a silk purse out of this Scorpio. So, let's see. We have after a day in the sun, I always burn. The next step for me is a cool shower. It honestly feels so good and so right. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. So Donna is saying maybe be careful of flying too close to the sun,
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone seen Eternals?
I'm gonna
on.
watch it tonight.
Oh, are you? Right. Yeah, I won't say anything then. We watched it last weekend. Um, uh, asking Donna if she's a Virgo. No Leo. Why? I'm just listening to your conversation now. I feel.
It's
Um, okay, right, next. So let's hope we've got some good stuff to finish up on. So next, the penultimate card is Sagittarius. So this is from the
yeah,
22nd of November up to the 21st of December.
yeah.
And Sagittarius is all about higher learning and beliefs. Oh, this is nice. We've got the Fool. We've got the Fool.
Yeah,
So, I mean, like, just to keep going through what we were saying, like, where Scorpio season is bringing you to this place, it's like the project has come to its natural kind of a ending point. You've got this lull where you're like, you're feeling all kind of like, I don't know what to do with myself. Then comes the period of acceptance. Then comes the period of, right, okay, well, that's over and done with now. But now I can, I can reach new heights. I can do something
that's right.
else. This is where you seem to be kind of a over maybe the more um negative emotional reaction to it, and able to kind of move on and think, right, be excited about what the future holds. Um, so yeah, that's what Sagittarius is bringing for you. The Fool in this card is reaching for a butterfly, which is perfect for Sagittarius. It's all about spiritual development, spiritual evolution,
Right.
um, and yeah,
Just the contrast in between, like, Scorpio and like Sagittarius is like
yeah,
two contrasts. It's a dark card and then it's a light card, and
yeah,
it is. I love Sagittarius. There could be a few tales that are not safe for the workplace that I could tell about Sagittarius, but they're very good people,
right,
amazing
okay,
people, and I feel like I'm a Sagittarius ascendant, and so it's a very sort of like appropriate that once we hit that card for that sign, it's kind of like, right, jump on the horse, go to the edge of the cliff, and reach for that butterfly. It's kind of like it's a very like accelerated like metamorphosis,
yeah.
really.
It looks as though the Fool's wearing a Robin hat. Robin, have you noticed this? The Fool has stolen one of your hats, one of your prized hats, and he's wearing it. Um, yeah. So yeah. Um, okay, what do we think about that in the chat? Um, let's see where I'm at. Remember, Chris, which of the two Fools? So this is that I don't have the golden Fool in the deck. I decided to take it out, Robin. I don't like having duplicate cards in decks. And I know that so here's the golden Fool.
Wow, that is
And that's
amazing.
the zero Fool. So the idea of having two Fools is like once the Fool's done the journey once, once you reach the world, you kind of about turn and you start again as the Fool, but the golden Fool is like it's like starting again with all of the stuff you've learned from your journey the first time around, and then you're doing it again. And rather than reaching for the butterfly like in the initial Fool, the golden Fool is reaching for this lattice of consciousness, which is quite prevalent in this deck. I'm not going to go into what it is and all that, but it's an interesting thing to look up. Um, but yeah, this is the kind of just the normal Fool, if you want to call it that.
That's beautiful, Chris.
Um, so Donna, Cancer, Moon, and Rising. So I feel very atypical Leo. What a perfect card for Sagittarius season. It's so optimistic. Heaven Flower, I'm not doing readings today for everyone. We're just doing a reading for Marvin. Um, so Robin says new beginning, next best thing coming along. Listen to the voice of wisdom, right, Beth? The refreshed fool after the Nine of Swords, fresh thoughts, new perspectives, and a desire to add something new. Cool, definitely. Oh, I've still got some tea
Yeah,
left.
get rid of the corduroy.
Burn it in Sagittarius fire. um, start over, maybe a new project, step off into a new direction, get out of the nine headspace. Okay, I can see that. Another opportunity or project, says Robin. After your period of darkness, you'll forge ahead with renewed optimism, says Donna. Ange says, and the Fool may be signifying that the creation that you were working on has now opened new doors for you. Absolutely, it could
Hopefully,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, prefers the Golden Fool. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the artwork, I do, but I can't handle having my Fool as number 22.
You can't get past that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
quite like a, yeah.
maybe I could. Maybe it wouldn't bother me that much, but I'm not quite ready right now. Um, yeah, sorry, I do free readings and stuff, but just not tonight. So for roundtable readings, it's where we all come together and read together for one person. Today, my guest is Marvin. But on my kind of a banter and card slinging lives, and the second half of the live, I tend to do readings. So if you catch me on one of them, then please feel free to bring your question back at that point. But thank you very much anyway. Okay, we are at the finale, the last card. So the last card is for Capricorn season. It takes us through Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas. It's from the 21st of December up until the 20th of January. So today is the last day of Capricorn season, I believe. So yeah, this is basically 12 months time, what kind of stuff is going to be happening. Capricorn deals with our reputation and our status, if you're interested in what it means. And we're finishing up. It was one of the jumpers. It's our beautiful Empress card. And can we
No
just take some
way.
time to appreciate this Empress? It
Wow.
is one of the most stunning Empress cards that I have seen in a deck. Um, like, just look at it. It's so good. Um, I know a lot of people have a bit of a problem with empresses showing, pregnant women or pregnant people or mothers or, you know, personally, I don't really take much issue with that stuff, but I really like this. This is one of my favorite empresses, if not my favorite. Um, So yeah, so Capricorn season in a year's time. I mean, we're seeing. It's almost like we're seeing it come full circle. It's almost like we're seeing you beginning some new creative project all again. I think the Empress is kind of like the all of the queens put together.
That's
So
right.
we were starting off with the Queen of Swords. We were starting off in the area of intellect, and then we've kind of come full circle, and now we're at her boss. We're at the Queen of Queens. We're at the Empress. So you're
Yeah.
starting that process of creativity. You've kind of turned the corner here. You've kind of taken that leap with the Fool. You're throwing yourself into something new, and I really do feel as though in a year's time you're going to be you're going to find yourself, starting that path again, starting to create something new. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's a year from now. A lot can change in that time. There's a lot of choices and decisions and stuff that can influence the way that the year is going to go.
Yeah.
But there's definitely the potential to kind of open yourself up to new creative endeavors in a year's time once that you've kind of worked your way through
It's
this
a
journey.
cycle. Yeah, so it's like literally I'll tell you the card that I got for January this year, okay,
Hmm.
was the Empress card. So it's an Empress month. So like going from, what do you call it, Sagittarius, like all throughout to like Capricorn, and that season I did get the Empress card.
Yeah.
And for that to appear to that season again, it's almost like, yeah, it's a circular narrative. Because I always see, life in general and the situations that we go through as human beings is of a spiral nature.
Yeah,
Much like the judgment card that you discussed during your Mary L study group, and to actually see and get that card, it's like, yes, I've gone through like the first, like round of this whole like creative thing, and then it's the fall again. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, let's go back into creating again. And it's very optimistic because it seems like what I can see at the moment is just sort of like walking through, or like, at the start of this year doing this project, it's like trying to like open a really, really heavy like oak door, and it's really hard to to pull it, to like pry it open. But then
yeah,
when it's opened again, then you've got another hallway again, and then it just gets easier, and you just get stronger, and you just get a little bit more discerning.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, I agree with like what you said about the Empress being the bosses of the four queens, or them being all like put together, because this year it feels different. I feel a little bit more like driven, and I'm kind of like a little bit more like non-apologetic about I don't know, certain points of view, or I don't care too much, about like what other people really think. And it's, to me, it's all about like containing that energy and that gestation period of creating.
yeah.
And it's really, really good to have the Empress. So practically, I'm probably going to get pregnant with another idea again in a year's time.
Good.
So,
Good stuff. That's what we like to hear.
yeah.
What I'm going to do, guys, I am going to move my face off of the shot. So let me see. Table only is what we want, and I want to do this in a way where we can see all of the cards. So let's make sure that we have our Empress there. Let's make sure that we have our three of discs down the bottom, and then let's kind of layer them all so that they're all sitting nicely. So let's see, our 5 of 5 is just sitting there. Our Sun card.
Oh,
Just
wow.
about, just about. And the Soul card is kind of a thingy in the middle there. So whilst I just highlight some of the comments that we've had on the Empress card, if you guys want to look at the kind of the year as a whole, I know that that light is kind of annoying on the 8 of discs there. Sorry about that. In fact, I can turn that down actually. I have the power to. I should have the power.
You have the power.
Yeah, I have the power to turn it off, but I should also have the power to turn down the brightness. There we go. So I don't know if that's any better really. Anyway, um, and I'll kind of pop that there. Soul card in the middle, so you can see the full, pretty much the full spread. Let me know what your thoughts are on the spread as a whole, and I'll have a look at the comments on the Empress just now. So, we have, so Danielle says, black sharp may fix your golden fool. Oh, black sharpie. Oh no, I wouldn't want it. No, no, no. Um, no. It can stay at 22. I wouldn't want to deface it and change the number on it, just in case I do want to kind of bring it in and read with it as well as the this fool at some point. I'll still keep it. But yeah. Marvin, you'll be breathtaking in January. A pure sign of optimism, says Robin. Um, of course, we end with the Empress, says Ange. Um, um, thank you
No
both
worries.
for your patience and sense of humour, says Robin. Um, you will bring something new into the world, says Donna. And that's the thing about the Empress, isn't it? Like, the Empress is actually the embodiment of physical creation. For me anyway, like the magician kind of formalizes the concept. He kind of brings the concept out of the blue. The High Priestess is kind of like represents all of the knowledge in the world, and to me, it's that kind of a gestation or germination period. Where the seed grows its roots. The Empress is actually the thing that takes it from the being just a concept from the spirit world into the world of the physical. Um, Ange says, bask in the abundance around you, whatever that looks like to you, and continue to nurture your creativity as it flows to and through you. Donna says, and it will feed your soul. Robin says, I love that the tarot is a teacher, but one thing it teaches us is never to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Ange says, room for error and choice. Yep. I love the Empress here. You're in your element. This was your passion and your goal. Ange is putting a link to your channel again. Consider subscribing to Marvin. I'm going to go one step further. Don't just consider it, go and get it done, or I'm coming to shuffle every single one of your tarot decks into one big mega deck, and I'm going to put reversals in there as well, just to be a dick. Get them subscribed, people. Right, okay. So what do we think about the reading as a whole then? What are we kind of seeing just looking round the wheel? Do we see anything particular that we want to comment on, or are we quite happy with this how it's gone as we went through individually? What do you think, Marvin?
It is. I always see, yearly readings as sort of a wheel turning.
Yeah.
All the time, and from what I can see from this is really quite, and the way that you have read it for me and the way that others in the live feed have actually read as well, is that it is just another person's journey. And considering that I have had plans nearer the end of the year, and I'm just going to keep saying this to honor and validate what happened last year, because last year was just shit.
Right.
Okay, it was very transformative, and to actually go into this reading and to see it develop into something that I had initially either planned or thought of, it's very reassuring. And as a whole, really, except not really except for Scorpio season, because that's actually in the larger scheme of things, and in tarot, the Nine of Swords actually isn't that much of a big deal, as much as it's a Tower or the 10 or the 8. And it's just positive. It is something that is very tangible for me, and is actually going to help me move forward. So I just want to thank you so much for taking this time, and to everyone as well, because it's going to be a very interesting journey and a ride. And once I feel that everything can be put out as a whole, or nearing completion, then hopefully that will bring me much joy to share it with people, as much as you bring joy into sharing your time with me. So very positive, Chris. I love it.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed the experience, and thank you so much to you again for coming on and doing this.
No
Let me just
worries.
bring my face back in, so you're speaking
No
to an
worries.
actual person. Yeah, I really appreciate anyone and everyone who's willing to come on and do this with me. It's I know that it really does put you under the magnifying glass. So thank you so much. Let's just see. So Robin loves your laugh. It's infectiously supportive. Ange says infectiously supportive. Love that, Robin.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I apparently can't say it because that's twice now. Donna's excited for you.
Thank
Robin
you.
says, I want to be in a round table reading, but I can't promise to be as silly when I'm underneath the magnifying glass.
Go for it,
Cool.
Don.
Well,
Go for it,
well,
Robin.
send me a
Go for
message,
it.
Robin, and we'll get it sorted. Um, This is such a beautiful journey. I would love this type of balanced year. We learn more when we don't just go with the flow. And then Ange says, Marvin, what is your personal 2022 card and the tarot if you'd like to share?
So, I don't really
15,
know
you
much
said,
about
yeah?
it. Yeah, it was 15 this year, which I added like 1 and 5, which is 6.
Right.
So it's the lovers, if we were going to do it that way. What's 15 in the tarot? Sorry, I
The
can't.
devil.
Well, there's that too. Like you said, in the beginning, or like when we had this conversation, they're kind of like very much like alike and they're like contrasting. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with like those two sides of like both the devil and, the lovers. But to sort of like put those together, and learning how to sort of like pull energy from one side and to like one side to just create and manifest this whole thing. That is the challenge. And this reading right here is actually like telling me, you know what, you can use both. It's not going to be an easy journey because you're not like a master mage or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's just another lesson. Yeah. So 15 or 6.
So when I do that kind of a thing, like 15 is kind of a, like the personality,
Right.
and 6 is like the soul. It's what's underneath. Um, that's how it is when you're working out your own card. So when I add up my birthday, I
Yeah.
actually get 2, depending on how I add it up. If I do, so I'm the 1st of November 1988. So if I
Hmm.
do 1 plus 11 plus 1988 and then reduce it, I get to 2. Whereas if I do 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 and reduce it, I get to 11 before I get
Right.
to 2. If you do it the 11 way, then I think 11 is like the personality card, 2 is the soul card,
Right.
and then 20, which is the other, and that's a triad. That
Mm.
is like a hidden factor or a teacher.
Wow.
Um, so if you're looking at it that way, then 15 would be like the personality of your year, and 6 would be like the soul of it.
Yeah.
So it's just something else to think about.
That makes
Um,
that makes a whole lot of sense, like, and like on a personal level. Yeah, it
yeah,
does.
good. Anne says roundtable readings take courage and vulnerability. Thank you for allowing us in a bit, Marvin. And thank you, Chris, for always holding space for people in this way. You are
Yeah.
so welcome. I
Thank you,
thoroughly
Chris.
enjoy it. Um, have come away very tempted by this deck. Good stuff. I like to be a wee deck temptress. Uh, Same as me, Marvin. 2022 is Devil and Lovers. Um, Devil and Lovers nice. I always use both. So I'm in a Tower and a Chariot here.
Mm.
Um,
Transformative. Mm.
they're mirror cards, says Danielle. The Chariot will carry me through the Tower. Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay. Or, so just to expand on that thought that Angie's just had. So if you think about the Smith Way, the Tower and the Chariot are kind of they're not quite as mirror-ish as um as what the Lovers and the Devil are, but um sorry, breaking off aside, um but they still kind of are in a way, because you've got like the powerhouse in the middle, and then you've got the two things on either side. The thing that's the thing that's inflicting its will on the other people. Of course, the chariot is a card of willpower, but you still have that in the tower, because the important part for me of the tower is the lightning. That is change. The lightning represents change, and that is what the tower card is all about. And then we have the two figures on either side that are being affected by the change. So they
Totally.
are mirror cards in a way as well. Um, and I think what this is saying is, you have the choice, Ange. You can be the lightning, or
Yeah.
you can be either the tower or one of the people falling from the tower, or you can be the charioteer or you can be one of the sphinxes. You can be the one of the, the things that's being swayed one way or the other. You've got the choice of whether you are in the driver's seat or whether you are kind of a, and I think that how you influence what position you take is how you deal with moments like this. When you find yourself coming up against a situation where change has to happen, are you going to be the one to kind of say, right, well, do you know what, fuck it, like I know something needs to change, so let's change something? Or are you going to bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and wait for the change to just happen despite you? I think that's what makes the difference in a year like that. But sorry, I digress. I just wanted to point out that there's also quite an interesting kind of a mirror
Yeah.
situation happening in those cards.
I mean, Chris, do you often sort of like when you look at the RWS specifically, do you often imagine them, like moving as cards, sort of like, your imagination sort of like sparks or kind of like movement or what kind of like scene it creates? Because
Oh
with
yeah,
what you have, yeah, with what you have just actually like stipulated before with Ange and the Tower and the Chariot, it's almost kind of like it's a necessary change to propel it forward. So you can see like the tower like falling down because literally it's just like, well, you know what, it's not earthquake proof and there's a huge shake, so we need to like shift
yeah,
and move forward. And that's like what I see with that, with the devils and the lover. However, I'm gonna have to meditate on that now and actually like explore that, because those are like they're not, they're very polar opposites of each other.
right, yeah.
Which,
Choice and
yeah,
you know, being influenced.
that's right.
It's kind of the same though, because it's like the lovers is about choice, and devil is almost about abdication of choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we've got a choice. We've got a choice. It's up to us what we do. Whether we are driving that choice or whether
that's
we
right.
let something or someone else drive that
External.
choice.
Yeah.
Um, but
Ooh.
yeah, I think every card, every tarot card is a snapshot of a bigger scene, of a short story. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's how we can interpret and kind of take in meaning from it. It's when we kind of understand that it's not just this scene that we actually see in the card.
It
You need to
moves.
think
Yeah.
about the journey that they're going through, that is just a representation of, that's just a snapshot of. And that's where I really feel that thinking about like with the fool's journey, or like the journey from ace to 10, like that's why, like, I mean, you heard me do it a couple of times when I was talking about like with the 7 and with the 5. I kind of think about my way of thinking is to go, right, well, what's happening when we go from the ace to the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5. It's because I see each of the cards as a kind of a part of a journey, and not
That's
just
right.
one thing that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, thank you so much to you, Marvin, for coming on. Thank you so much
Thank
to
you.
everyone else for being here, and for helping us to read these cards for Marvin. I'm sure Marvin really appreciates it, and I know
I
that, as
really, really
always,
do.
I appreciate each and every one of you, because I couldn't do this without you. It just wouldn't be the same without all of your input and insight. So thank you so much, everyone. Um, Let me see. Is there any last minute comments that we want to catch? Don't just drive your chariot into the tower. Be the lightning. Burn that shit down, says Ange. You're so welcome. The devil is also about unhealthy attachment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Unhealthy choices. And the lovers, I see. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love yourself. To with the the devil is good advice.
Okay. No, I get that. Yeah.
Um, and Angie's saying Amy and Gerald are having an interesting discussion live. Brilliant. So there we go. We've got some for those of
Sweet.
you who are wanting to continue the party. Head on over to Gerald's live with Amy, and yeah, I'll no doubt see. I'll pop in and say hi. So I'll see you all there. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing weekend, all of you. Take care, and I shall see you all later.
Bye. Thank you.